Hey everyone, how you doing? Ron here. This is a follow-up video to a previous video I did where we used Halo to take still images and to create some awesome animated video images from those still images. Now, if you haven't watched that video yet, be sure to check it out first. Should be right up here, I believe, because we're going to be using some of the videos we created in that video, in this video here, and we're going to be looking at ways to improve the quality of those videos. Just like I did before, I'm going to post a link in the description below. It'll be to a downloadable image pack so that you can download the same images that I'm using here and follow along. All right, so let's get into it. Or, as my friend AI Samuel L. Jackson might say,
you clicked on it. Now, come in and set your ass down.
All right, yeah, what a great time we're living in. So if you've played around with Halo at all, you've probably come across an image or two that no matter how much you want it to, Halo just can't generate a video from that image. From time to time, I've had that happen. So let's take a look at a common problem and how we can fix it. Let's say we want to create an animated talking video from this image using Halo. This image, by the way, is named Phone Man in the image pack if you've downloaded that. Okay, so let's go ahead and start up Pinocchio. All right, and as my Pinocchio is starting, my Pinocchio is probably going to look a little bit different than yours. The reason is that they just recently updated Pinocchio, and this is the most recent version that I'm running here. So if it looks a little bit different, don't worry, yours will still work just fine. All right, and here it is, and we're going to go ahead and start up Halo. And give this just a couple minutes here. I will go ahead and pause the video while this starts up because this will take just a little bit. All right, and here's Halo, and we're going to go ahead and bring our Phone Man image in here. Just drop that, and then we're going to find a audio file to go along with it. And our sound file is also going to be named Phone Man. So we're going to go ahead and just drop our sound file right here. Then we're going to scroll down. We're going to click the submit button. We're going to leave all the default settings here. Click the submit button and wait for it to generate. And oh no, we get an error. So if we actually go over here to the terminal window and look, our last line right here is going to be an index error. And that index error just says that basically Halo was not able to detect the face in our image. Now, the good thing here is that image error popped up really quick. So it's not like you're going to be sitting around, you know, waiting for an hour or something just to be presented with an image error. Then you will know pretty much right away if the image is going to work or if it's not going to work. So basically, all it is that Halo needs a large face in the image in order to be able to work its magic. So all we have to do is open this image up into our favorite photo editor, whether that be Affinity Photo, Inkscape, GIMP, Photopiece, SpyShop. Some of you know it as Photoshop. And then what we're going to do is crop the image and just be sure to maintain that 512 by 512 aspect ratio and make the face take up the majority of the image. All right, so let's just go ahead and do that now. Let me find my Photoshop here. Here it is. All right, and it should open up relatively quickly here. And all we're going to do is we're going to drag our image in. In this case, it is Photo Man. We're just going to drag that guy right here. There we go. And let's see, we're going to do a crop. We're going to do a square. We want our 1:1 aspect ratio. And I'm going to go like real tight here. Something... yeah, something about like that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. Make sure we got it at 512 by 512. Nope, we got 473. We're going 512. All right, so it's going to enlarge it just a little bit. This is not the ideal way to enlarge this image. We're going to lose a little bit of the image quality because I'm doing it this way, but it doesn't matter. I mean, for this example, this will be just fine. All right, and I am going to save it as Phone Man Crop, and it's going to be 512 by 512. Go ahead and close out of Photoshop here. You don't need to save that. And we're going to find Phone Man Crop over here. There he is. Get rid of this. Bring in Phone Man Crop. Get over there. All right. Yep. Definitely lost some quality, but we're going to go ahead and leave everything as default. We already have our audio file loaded. Let's go ahead and click this submit button right now. What we have is we have an image that previously would not generate a video for us. Now it did generate a video. So Viola, we've got our video here, and let's give it a play and let's see what it looks like.
That's right. And your little doggy too.
All right, let me do that again.
And your little doggy too.
And one more time.
That's right. And your little doggy too.
Okay. Well, I mean, for the purpose of our demonstration, that's fine. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at how we can take some of these videos that we've created and improve the quality of the videos. In other words,
that's right.
When you look at them,
and your
the mouth, you know, a lot of times they're moving rather jittery, rather quickly. So we're going to look at ways that we can take and smooth out our video and give it a more polished look. What we're going to look at is what's called video interpolation. And essentially what that is the software will look at your video frames here. For example, we just generated this video at 25 frames. So it's going to look at those 25 frames, and in between those 25 frames, it's going to generate and create its own frames to go in between those, thereby providing more frames for our video, which will allow it to run smoother. Now, there are plenty of websites you can go to where you can upload your video and have it smoothed. But generally, they all cost money, or they're going to watermark your video, and we don't want that. So as always, my goal is to demonstrate software that you can run right on your own PC for free of charge. And the software we're going to be using today is just that. Okay, so open up your web browser and then head on over to link number 2 in the description below. And you're going to click on the little download now button. It says name your own price. There's an option here to donate money to the developer. If you find the software useful for you, it would be great if you could come back at some point and donate something. I'm sure it would be really appreciated. For right now, we're going to click on no thanks. Just take me to the downloads right there. And then we're going to download the web installer here. And let's see. All right, and our download has completed. All right, and let's go ahead and grab that download right here. And we're going to go ahead and just move that into its own folder. I keep all of my AI stuff on its own drive here. So I'm going to make a folder here, and I'm just going to name it Flow Frames. Drop our file in there. All right, and now that our file's in here, we could go ahead and start the installation process. But before we double click on this file, since this is going to make a lot of changes to a lot of system configuration files, it's a pretty good idea to go ahead and do a system backup first. That way we'll have a restore point that we can go back to should things not work well after we install this software. So to create your system restore point, just go to your search bar down here, type create a restore point. You'll get this, click on it, and then just click right here where it says create and give it a name. I'm going to call mine just before Flow Frames. Like that, click create. This will take just a few seconds here. Essentially what this does is after you install software, if it ends up that some things on your system no longer work correctly, you can go back to this restore point and put your system back to the state that it was in prior to installing the software that damaged your system. All right, so now that that is done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to double click our Flow Frames installer here. And I don't want to do the default. I'm going to go ahead and go to a custom folder because I want to put everything here on my drive that I have set up for my AI, even though at this point right now, it's actually running very slow for me. But I'm going to keep it all together. That way I can eventually move it onto an SSD and keep the same drive letter. So I'm going to go ahead and extract this into my flow frames folder. Just like that. Flow frames. Next. And you can either leave this on auto detect, or I know that I'm running an NVIDIA card, so I'm just going to go ahead and click the NVIDIA here. Next, PyTorch installation to use. I can either use an existing PyTorch installation, or I can install an embedded Python runtime with all dependencies. I'm going to choose that because what that's going to do is that's going to install its own Python, PyTorch, everything else right there in this same folder that I just created. So I do have an RTX 30 series and older. Okay, yeah, that's 16 series, that's 30 series. Okay, so yeah, it's a 30 series and older. Select AI model install type. Don't pre-install AI models, and yes. I'm going to go ahead and install all the models since I am not limited on disk space here. So I'm going to go ahead and install everything. That way things don't have to be downloaded whenever I do start up flow frames. All right, all this looks good. Go ahead and click next. Let it install. All right, so we're going to be presented now with the option of how we want to handle the models. Models are relatively large files. If you have a lot of storage space, you can go ahead and download all of these models. And in that way, if you launch them from within the software, they don't have to download at that time. So that's what I'm going to do. I have everything here checked. I'm going to go ahead and just click this download model files. And this is going to take a little bit of time. So we'll be back as soon as these are done. All right, and all of our models have downloaded. You can tell by the little done right here. So all we're going to do is we're going to click close. Okay, so what we want to do now is we're going to go ahead and click the tab up here. It says Interpolation. And up here where it says Interpolation AI, you're going to see several options here. And this is going to depend on the type of video card that you are using. And generally what I usually do is I'm going to leave mine right at the very top selection here. It's the Rife CUDA with PyTorch, and that is an NVIDIA only. If you're running a good NVIDIA card, this will be a good selection for you. And the next one down, it says Input Video or Frames Folder. This is where we're going to select our video, and we will do that in just a few minutes here. Output Directory. If you do not choose an output directory by default, the rendered video will be put back into the same directory that the source video comes from. What we're going to do first before we mess with any of this is we're going to come over here where it says Encoding Settings. We're going to click that. The only one here that we really need to change is the very first option here. And this just depends entirely on what kind of GPU that you have. I have a little bit higher end on the GPU side here. So I'm going to choose the H265 NVENC because that offers fast GPU accelerated rendering while encoding. And it is really quite fast. So I'm going to go ahead and select that one, but you can select whichever one of these here you feel will work best with your video card. And of course, you can always come back and change and experiment and see what works well for you. So I've selected mine, and then we're going to go and we're going to click over here and we're going to click on AI specific options. Now on AI specific options, these drop downs here, these only apply if you have more than one GPU. Since the majority of people are probably only going to have a single GPU, we're probably not going to need to make any changes to these. So I'm going to leave everything here at their default values for my setup. Then we're going to come over and we're going to click on the Interpolation tab. The only thing here we really need to change is this one down here where it says Auto Encode Backups. And that's really only critical if you installed, like I did, to an external hard disk drive, because this can cause issues on hard disk drives. So we want to make sure that this is, in fact, disabled. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and click back on the application. And from this tab here, we can set various options. For example, where we want our temporary files to be stored. In other words, if you have low disk space on your C drive, probably don't want to set this for your C drive. Your default output location. I leave mine as the same as the input directory, and various other options here that you can change according to your system. When you're satisfied with all of the settings that you have on the application tab, just go ahead and click the X up here. That's going to close out of our settings. It's going to take us back to the main window here of FlowFrame's Video Interpolator. And we are going to go ahead and select now our video input file. And if you downloaded the sample pack, go ahead and load up a file by the name of philosophy.mp4. All right, Philosophy MP4, we're going to go ahead and select that. And as you can see, the output directory was set to the same directory there. Now, we've got to look at this output FPS and speed. This was generated, if you recall, at 25 frames per second. Now, times 2 is not going to make a huge difference. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do a times 4. That's going to give us 100 frames per second. And do make sure to leave this at normal speed. We don't want to go slow speed with this. And here's our model. We're using the Rife 4.0. This is the latest model that's available in the version of FlowFrames that we have. Our output mode, we're going to leave as MP4 at either H.264 or 265. That is good. We've already set our encoding settings. So now that everything is set, it looks good. We're going to go ahead and click this Interpolate button. And this is actually a pretty fast process. It should only take a few seconds here. All right, it's processing frames, downloading the model, running the AI. As you can see, it's running Rife CUDA here. All right, and it is processing the frames. It's actually generating our frames right now, which is really cool. Gives us an ETA of about 26 seconds, 20 seconds. Now it says creating output video from the frames. Mixing the audio, subtitles into the video. And done. All right, so now we can go back to our origin folder here. Let me navigate to that. That was here, 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 and here. All right, and now we are going to have, here's our new video here. Let's go ahead and play this and see what it looks like.
If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
I think that looks pretty cool. I had actually generated a video from this before doing the interpolation. So for comparison, I'm going to go ahead and play that.
If you choose
this
not
is
to
the
decide,
before.
you
As you
still
can see,
have
it's
made
very
a choice.
jittery. It's kind of bouncing around. Play it one more time.
If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Even in the background, you see a lot of jitteriness back there. And then here's our video after the FlowFrames treatment.
If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Much smoother, much, much nicer.
If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Very nice. For fun, how about if we go ahead and run our phone man that we created here earlier? We'll go ahead and interpolate him. Let me browse for that video here. Phone man, get in there. All right, output set to the same. We're going to go ahead and leave him at 100 FPS as well, normal speed. Everything looks good. Go ahead and interpolate this guy. Running Rife CUDA. I was actually amazed at how quick this program does this process. It's really, really fast. As you can see already, our ETA is down to 14 seconds. Of course, once this passes, then it's going to actually copy it over to the folder. Creating output video from frames, mixing the audio subtitles into video. And we should be done. And we are done. All right, so let's take a look now at our phone man video. That'll be right here. Let's watch the original for comparison.
That's right. And your little doggy too.
All right, one more time on the original.
That's right. And your little doggy too.
All right, and now the modified from FlowFrames.
That's right. And your little doggy too.
That's an amazing difference.
That's right. And your little doggy too.
looks so much nicer, so much smoother. Love that. Now, of course, if you ran that and you weren't happy with the results, you can run it as many times as you need to. Just go back in. You can change the interpolator AI. You can change the frames per second. I mean, there's so many things in here that you can change. You can change the output mode, the encoding, all kinds of things just to see what works best on your particular system. Now, I do want to mention that if you own Topaz Video AI or DaVinci Resolve, you can achieve interpolation through those as well. However, both of those are paid software options, and I always try to focus whenever I can on something that's free. And in this particular case, FlowFrames is free. Not only is it free, but it's also really easy to use. So we've gone over the basics of FlowFrames, and in the download pack, I've included an additional video that you can practice on here as well. This one here called Teacher. So go ahead and practice that. The corresponding audio file is also included, as is the audio file for the philosophy and the phone man, so that you can practice these and create them, recreate them over and over as many times as you want. And I have started work on another video that's going to allow us to deep dive into these generated videos and actually fix intricate details within the videos themselves. So be sure to like and subscribe so that you'll be notified when I upload that video. Okay, so I promised that I would answer a few questions at the end of this video. And the very first question that I'm going to address is, can you do a video for AI voice cloning software? And my answer is yes, I will. Just as soon as I find some AI voice cloning software that runs locally on your own computer for free that actually works. I have tried just about everything out there, everything imaginable, even the videos that you see around that say, hey, this is just as good as 11 Labs. That's bullshit. Everything that I have tried is absolutely miserable when it actually comes to voice cloning. So as soon as I find something that actually works and works well, yes, I will do a video on it. All right, so the next one is, now this is not really a question, but here goes as a comment. There's something wrong with my audio, my video, or something else. And yes, from time to time there is, and I'm working on it. I'm still very new to YouTube. I was a YouTube video virgin just 6 months ago. So I'm still learning everything that there is to go along with being on YouTube here. That includes trying out many different video editing softwares, different microphones, different lighting setups, different everything, just trying to find something that works for my particular situation and my unique style. Okay, and this question is, will Halo work with animals? In other words, can you take an image of your doggy and have him say something? And the answer is, unfortunately, no, at least not that I've been able to get to work. And I have tried many, many dogs. I've tried cats. I even went so far as to find a chimpanzee that had a very human-like face and tried that, and it would not work with any of those. So it looks like Halo is strictly human at this point. Okay, so that does it for answering a few questions at the end of this video here. If you have a question, go ahead and post it in the comments below, and I will do my very best to be able to get to it and answer it at the end of my next video. So I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll talk to you again soon.
You clicked on it. Now come in and sit your ass down. You clicked on it now. Come in and sit your ass down.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.